What's up, everyone? Welcome to Playing in the Stars tonight. We have the show for prediction of the showcase coming up this Wednesday. So, right now, tonight, we got myself and Brian here
What's up,
over
fellas?
with a nice little picture. So, we kind of got a downgraded cast tonight. Everyone got stuff at the same time, which is quite understandable. We all got busy lives, but we got JD from 50,000 feet in the sky writing to us currently on the plane, and I'm just trying to fix something. Sorry, just hit a snag with my microphone stand, but it should be fixed pretty easily. And I got it. Sorry about that. So I'm hoping everyone's doing well. What's up, Brian? How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Can't complain. At least we finally got some news to look forward to this week. So even though I'll be working, I'll definitely be watching because I'm trying to see what's gonna actually come out. I have my own speculations, but we can go in detail further later on.
Yeah, we've been hitting pretty much the same speculation. I had it for a while, let it off. I had it, I let it off. And now it seems like, yeah, we're going to talk about that in a moment. But other than that, what you been gaming on, man? What you been playing?
uh, well, as you know, but not everyone else does, I've been a sucker for my Switch now. So I haven't even touched my PS5 in a while. Doesn't mean I don't love it. I love them both. But the new Zelda has been awesome. I've been getting back into Pokemon, which is an addiction. Playing Smash Bros. Ultimate. Uh, been having a blast with the JRPGs because that's pretty much what I utilized it way back before. And now I'm definitely more excited for the next version or iteration of the Switch, which hopefully they do, like a Switch 2 with the AMD processor GPU buildup. Other than that, I'm more excited for this Wednesday because I have a feeling a certain game is going to be dropped during the showcase. So definitely ready for that already.
That would be stellar.
Yep.
All right, that's some good stuff. So yeah, a lot of Legends of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom for you from
Yes.
what I've been getting, and you've
Beautiful game.
beautiful
I will put it
taking.
this way: for the hardware that it is, and compared to a certain game that flopped a couple weeks ago, and people capped for it, it's night and day of what Nintendo can do compared to a $3 trillion company and all this budget, and they couldn't make anything happen.
Yeah, it's. I've seen some footage. I've been hearing a lot about it. That it's pretty phenomenal. That what they managed to do. I saw like someone saying, "Oh, they downgraded the graphic from Breath of the Wild," but looking at the like try to find a word like not the spectrum, but like how much you can do. What's like the side of the world map, the draw distance, just the scale of the game. They might have had to do a few optimization, downgrade a tiny bit in graphic, but it still looks pretty impressive for the platform. But man, the
Yeah.
map is huge, and the draw distance is pretty
Yeah,
crazy for a 1 teraflop console.
exactly. And what people don't understand is that it's literally three layers into the map. So you have the floating islands, that like the sections you can do. You have the regular normal land level that you've done in Breath of the Wild, and then you have down below, which is like the caves or caverns, whatever you want to call it, where you jump in there and you can find a crazy like what was it, Dead Souls type boss battles, and it's insane. Like you really have to be sweaty just to get a win on that one, or you at least have to
Nice.
get all the other hearts from the puzzles, just like the original Zelda formula. But it's the mechanics that does it for me, where there's a lot of creativity that can be done now compared to before. But the issue with that is, as we've seen memes, I guess there's kid like minds that are making some weird builds, as you say. But I'm in love with the game. It's definitely a lot better than Breath of the Wild.
Nice, yeah. The freedom there with the crafting and all I've heard is oh well. I've seen some clips like someone actually built a mech out in the game, like but put some platform and all that with some interactive thing stuff like arms and all and guns on it.
Yep.
and was walking around in it. So it's pretty impressive for such a, like, we can say it. It's a limited platform to Switch. It's a good device, but it's something that was built for going mobile like 7 or 8 years ago. Uh,
Exactly.
and like it's a Tegra chip. It's like super conservative in terms of performance, and they optimize the hell out of that hardware for that game. So I definitely want to give it a try. I right now I can't really go out and buy a Switch. My budget is a bit of cut on that with all the games coming out on PS5 and all that, and family, the car broke down and all. But
Yeah.
I'm keeping an eye out. I'm guessing the Switch 2 because apparently there's a rumor around that they're going to make a Switch 2 happen.
Yep.
That's going to be back
Next year.
compatible. That's most likely coming out next year with a decent beef up on the hardware. So I might be keeping an eye on that part. Hopefully, and definitely want to try Tears of the Kingdom because it looks pretty phenomenal for a game. Uh, Definitely getting a lot of praise that's well deserved for the work they have done. And we got Ashes in the chat. What's up? Oh, hi. Good to see you, Ashes. So that's Nintendo. Nintendo's going well. No news from them yet for the Summer Game Fest, but I don't think everyone has revealed their plans yet. It's still like PlayStation is opening the ball with this. They're the first to start, and there's Xbox coming soon enough as well at the beginning of June. But Nintendo, it's still most likely we'll get an announcement soon, but we haven't heard of what's next for Nintendo. I'm guessing the next show is when we'll hear about the next Switch. If not, we should hear very soon. So we got an interesting summer ahead. A summer with a lot of great games. So already Tears of the Kingdom, but there's more to come that we know of, and apparently there's some coming very soon that we barely know of or we don't know. We don't know the release date and all that are not as far as we think. So we'll be looking at this, and there's a showcase this Wednesday for PlayStation. I can share the screen. So it's a PlayStation showcase here on May 24th, 1 p.m. Pacific time. So that would fall at 4 p.m. Eastern. So a lot of hype built around this. I'll just add your little
Yeah.
image because you're missing from that screen. Won't be long.
I mean, the biggest thing this week, from what I've seen, even on Twitter, and everyone's acknowledged this except for certain community, is the showcase for PlayStation. I mean, that thing is ridiculous of how many interactions has it gone on Twitter, through the likes, through the views, retweets. Everyone's ready for the show on Wednesday at this point.
It's a big talk of the town, and there's a lot of rumors. Like some insiders that have been sharing a lot of stuff and contradicting each other like crazy. I've
Yeah,
heard
it's
some.
really bad. So
I've heard some pretty wild stuff. Some we've been speculating about for a while ourselves, and that we seem to see some stuff line up in that direction, but we'll see. Yeah, there's some pretty wild noise around.
yeah, like the whole co-op for Spider-Man 2, and then it's not happening, and then it is happening. It's I don't know.
We're gonna talk about that as well because Insomniac officially announced that there's no co-op, but I don't think that it's the end of this. There's a bit of a discussion to have there. So just catching up with the chat. As for myself, we talked about your gaming. Myself, I just finished, and well, I already had completed Miles Morales, but I finished my platinum trophy on it, so that's cleared out. That's something I wanted completed before Spider-Man 2 comes out, so I got the platinum for both Spider-Man Remastered and Spider-Man and Miles Morales, and also have Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. So I'm on a pretty good go right now for Insomniac PS5 titles. So hopefully I'll get to continue on that trend. So a lot of great. I've been hearing there's a lot of games from them coming that are currently in development, not just Spider-Man 2, because they got over 500, if not 600 employees right now working in the studio, and they got multiple projects. Apparently a multiplayer game that they have, plus another game, which I'm guessing has to be Ratchet and Clank related. So they got a lot of stuff. in a go. So
Mm.
we can talk
Uh,
about this. Just well, you wanted to add something?
no, I was gonna say Insomniac having that many people now is kind of ridiculous, and I'm trying to figure out what they're gonna do in terms of online games. I'm hoping they bring back certain franchises that I've liked, but I'm not too sure.
Talking
There's
about
also rumors
Resistance.
about Firesprite doing SOCOM,
Yes.
or not SOCOM. Was it SOCOM or is it the
Uh,
Resistance game?
Killzone.
Oh, Killzone. There you go.
Yeah, there was rumors about Killzone being done by Firesprite, which I think would make sense. Uh, Mainly because they've been collaborating with with Guerrilla working on Horizon Call of the Mountain, so they already have experience with Decima, which is Guerrilla's engine. So if they were gonna do Killzone, the last Killzone that was done was actually the first game that used Decima. So Killzone Shadowfall.
Yeah.
So if they were to bring back Killzone, for sure they'll do it with Decima. And knowing that Firesprite already has experience with Decima, I think it 100% makes sense for them to be making Killzone, which would be amazing to have that back in the fold of PlayStation. So having a PvP mode that's well maintained, like it. What I've been hearing is that this was one of the game as a service that they wanted to bring to PlayStation that'll keep on being maintained. And I see in the chat that Ashes is asking for more VR games announced, and it is part of the announcement. So they did share a bit of detail about the basically the plans for the showcase. So it's
I
gonna
just don't think
last.
it's gonna be the biggest highlight though. I think it's gonna be like a few games, if that, but it's not gonna be the major point.
Well, it's the showcase is over an hour. Normally, a state of play is 40 minutes. What I'm guessing is there's probably going to be like 40 to 50 minutes for regular PlayStation games, and maybe over 20 minutes maybe of PSVR 2 games, because it is in the title. There's been a
Yeah.
wealth of new games and new IP are added to PS5 and PSVR 2, and I'm pretty sure they detail that. Yeah, we'll run a bit over an hour, focusing on PS5 and PSVR 2 games and development from top studios around the world, except a glimpse of several new creations from PlayStation Studios, as well as spellbinding games from our third-party partners and indie creators. So I'm expecting several VR titles. At least, like, for VR, I expect at the minimum 4 that we've never heard of before, and probably more than that.
Yeah.
So,
But I don't know. It's such a niche market at the moment, and it has such great potential. But at the same time, I don't know if there's going to be that one game that sells the units as much as it does for consoles.
I think it's still a great thing that PlayStation is pushing it, and
It
it adds
is.
to the value of the console. It's one argument, like when shopping around for a console. Well, PlayStation's got a VR headset and it rocks really well. It's amazing quality. So since it's one of their selling argument for the console, for sure they'll continue to support it. Plus,
Yeah.
it's emerging, and PlayStation is contributing to that immersion, like to how it's getting more and more popular. Like, yeah, Oculus has been doing crazy number in sales, but as for usage for gaming, like retention of the users, I believe I saw that PlayStation had really good numbers at that. Like, usually people who buy the PlayStation VR headset buy more titles compared to Close. I'd have to dig back through the data. But performance of games are definitely better if you do comparison of graphics in the games. You have a PS5 loading the game instead of having a super small chip that's akin to a smartphone. So of course you're gonna get more performance. So they're really pushing it. So I think it's worth it for them to keep it part of the discussion and to continue to bring more and more titles, because it might, even if PSVR 2 on its own is not profitable, it's contributing and making that platform successful as a whole. So it's adding an element to the platform that's a good selling point for a lot of people. And it's improving the medium. It's giving access to different ways to connect with the players. So definitely a win. So just gonna finish catching up the chat. And we got Ghost Rat in the chat. What's up? Good to see you, man. Flying back to Atlanta. Gotta meet up soon. Yeah, JD's way up in the air right now, 50,000 feet. JD says GTA 6 exclusive deal with PS5. Yeah, that's we're gonna talk about that because you and I, Brian, we've been thinking the same thing. And when I'm posting it online, a lot of people like to disagree with me, and I do understand. Totally understand it being hard to see how GTA 6 would be exclusive to PS5, but there's several factors that are pointing in that direction. And there's Rudigs in the chat. What's up? Hey, hey. Yeah, Asha says, absolutely in love with the PSVR 2. So damn good, and the games have been pouring in lately. They've been getting a lot of game on PSVR 2. We don't hear as much about it as the mainline PS5 games, but there's not as many users. Like, I believe it's still like under 500,000, like maybe 400,000 units sold for PSVR 2, which is still good numbers for a VR headset. And it's like it's an accessory to the console, to the platform. So we're not seeing them as much, but they are still getting some visibility, and they are getting a constant stream of content. So that's really good that they're still getting that much support. So we'll see over time how this progress. What is it I wanted to verify? Yep. So what part do you want to start with for the showcase?
For me, the biggest thing is going to be that shadow drop that we've discussed. Personally, because of what I've seen from a lot of people, and it's all based on speculation, but if they're putting that on the front cover of their PlayStation Store, which they normally don't do unless it's literally about to release, where they paid really high, like a good amount for the marketing, or like they want to market the game itself that big, I feel like it's going to be a shadow drop during the showcase.
Yeah.
Because every showcase lately has had at least a shadow drop. And the reason why is so this way they can increase the huge amount of player base, get more people on board, and go out and get a PS5 or whatever console it is that's doing the showcase. So in this case, I think it's definitely going to be Stellar Blade, since it is part of their initiative from what was it, PlayStation China, I believe.
China Hero.
Yeah, something like that. Because they also did Project India, and they're doing another project as well. Which I do love because they're actually putting in money to help development costs and then also work with these small little studios. And that's what PlayStation's known for. They'll work with small studios to get that talent on their side.
Yeah.
When they see potential. And that's what people don't understand about Final Fantasy. Back in the day, it was primarily Nintendo that would help with those games. But obviously, they made their own IPs that are huge, especially with the Xenoblade series and everything. That's the competitor. Final Fantasy 16 is already looking to be their best one yet, and that's because the legend himself, Yoshi P, is behind it.
Oh, it's not just Yoshi P. The cast they got behind the production team is pretty crazy.
Specifically because he's also the one who helped out when it came to Final Fantasy 14. As you know, that was a shit show when it first released. It was so bad they had to scrap the whole thing and start anew. And on top of that, they're already using the new engine, and I think that's going to be a part of an update soon. I'm not sure when. And I'm not even sure if it's the same engine they used for Final Fantasy 16, but they're trying to implement it on Final Fantasy 14 Online as well.
Yeah, it's like 7.0, the version.
Yep.
Yeah, they've shown some images. It's still like in the builds, but it's pretty phenomenal how much it improves the visuals of the game.
Exactly.
But
So
yep.
I'm definitely excited for Final Fantasy 16. I already have it a plan out where I'm gonna pre-order after the demo just to see if I really do like it or if it's gonna be like I waited for a sale on Final Fantasy 15 scenario. So if it's that good, then I'll probably get it for the pre-order. I already know I'm getting Diablo 4 in pre-order, but that's because I played the demo. So I'm definitely excited for that demo, and maybe that could be an extra little goodie bag thing where they released it during the showcase as well.
Yeah. So for right now, I'm showing the Stellar Blade video on the PlayStation homepage. That game, basically, for those who are not aware, it's basically Sony did an outreach in China. They started the first one, I believe, was in Spain. I don't remember the name of the project. Then they did one in China called China Hero Project, and now they just started open the India Hero Project. So they're basically recruiting for studios that show talent in those areas, and they invest in those studios. They offer them contracts for publishing as Sony Interactive Entertainment games, like PlayStation games.
Yep.
So it's going. I think it. I'm not sure if it's partnered with XDev or it's its own unit that does that assistance. But they help optimize the game. They help investing for improving quality and polishing them up to a AAA standard. Because normally those are studios, very small studios that would like do like mobile games or small PC games that would barely get noticed. But they see talent at the core of those teams, and they try to develop that talent, grow the teams, get more people on board, show them method of bringing up quality of the games, and that's a game that's part of that initiative. And in a few years, we should see the same result for the India Hero project that they've been investing in. So those are really like that game is looking great. Stellar Blade, the team's definitely been doing a lot of work on this, and they've brought a really amazing feel to their game. So I'm really curious to see how it's going to turn out. Big action game, great graphics, great energy behind it. Asha says, so many of the indie games lately have been stellar. Glad they are getting more investment from the big boys. Yeah, it's definitely you're getting more talent from diverse area of the world into the talent pool. It's everyone wins with it. You get great games. You get a new perspective in the game, like new ways to develop. So yeah, it'll be exciting to see where that goes and what other studios get snatched up with this initiative.
Oh yeah.
So you were also talking about Final Fantasy 16 a moment ago that you're waiting for. There was some fresh footage that just came out today for this.
Yeah, because they're showing like a lot of people have been playing the game early access, I guess. I think it was like Maddie plays or something. He even loves it. Everyone's praising it, basically saying it's the best Final Fantasy by far. Which I have to play to believe because to me it's still a toss up between 7, 6, and 10.
Mm. Yeah, it's there. The game has been getting a lot of praise from everyone who's been trying it. Really curious to see how it'll end up. A bunch of videos are not loading for some reason, but it's looking fantastic, and the team behind it, like the guy in charge of the battle mechanics, is the guy who did Devil May Cry 5, for example, which is known for its fighting mechanics. They went to recruit him. I think Yoshipi met him a bit as a coincidence, like they met in a cafe or something like that, and started talking. But he was already trying to reach out for him, and just happened to come across him. They had a conversations like, "Yeah, I really want you part of the team. We're doing Final Fantasy. I don't know if you were interested in doing a switch from one style to the other. You'd be bringing your expertise for the fighting," and he jumped on board. It's like every member is like the music, the cinematic, like the cast they have behind the team to develop the game is really like top notch. They handpick their people who have shown success time and time again, who have not, for the most part, worked together up to now, and they mash them up to make that game, which is looking like it'll be a high-ranking game, like in terms of reviews. Already, a lot of people have been praising it. Should be great quality. Should be a lot of fun to play.
Yeah, my thing is I want to see how the controls and gameplay mechanics work. If it's a little junky, like finicky or not. If it turns out smooth, because there was some high potential when it came to Final Fantasy 15. I still love the game. I'm just glad I got it on sale type of scenario. But with this one, it's just looking beautiful in terms of the loading speeds, the frames, graphics, the elements that pop. The story apparently is top notch this time. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like one of those things where, like, okay. I mean, hopefully they still build upon off of like Final Fantasy 15 because their story was actually good to the point where I even watched the anime, which was like a prequel before you even play the game. So to me, that's what I'm hoping for is that kind of level or surpassing it,
Yeah,
especially with the next gen prices coming along with $70 and to $100 for the deluxe or whatnot they come out with. So,
yeah. That game's $100 in Canada, and that's a standard.
eesh.
Yeah. I was looking at it.
Yeah.
It's like, do I take the deluxe? I'm looking at the deluxe, like over 120. Like, wait, what?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy the prices in Canada. It's like I at the store
I mean,
earlier.
it's Final Fantasy, so
I'll
it
just look.
doesn't hurt.
Where is it? Where is it?
But then there's also things I got to look forward to in Diablo because a lot of people I know are getting it. But my concern now is the microtransactions, and it's the same concern as I have from like what was it 2K Drive with Legos because apparently that game looks great, but the micros ruin it because it's behind a greedy company. And the thing is, the biggest game to come out next year, hopefully, GTA 6, is also going to be very greedy with microtransactions.
Yep. No, they've been cashing out on microtransaction for a while now with GTA
And I
Online.
hate that because when you go to like PlayStation and get their games, none of their first party titles really have microtransactions like that.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Nintendo. None of them have microtransactions like that. It's mostly you do you get the game. There's DLCs for it if that's the case, and that's it. If you want other like add-ons, you can get it, but that's all up to you. It's not like half baked, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not like forced upon. Oh, you definitely need to spend money with microtransactions to get the stuff you want. I mean, because look at the backlash GT7 got when they did that, and they fixed everything because of it.
Yep.
PlayStation thought about doing that, but no. Lesson learned. So I'm just getting tired of the microtransaction bullshit because save that for mobile games or battle royales. I don't have time for that for a full first party game.
Well, to me, microtransactions should only be in free to play games.
That too.
If your game is free to play, cool, put in microtransaction. If you have to pay a premium for the game, you can charge for DLC if you get extra content in there, but it needs to be justified. Like you're paying the premium, you get the full size game, and if you have any DLC, it's extension of. Like, okay,
Yeah.
you're getting content that justifies it, but microtransaction for microtransaction, like just for charging for making stuff easier. It's like, okay, you can get those resources if you pay, but if you decide not to pay, you end up grinding like 3 weeks for something that you could just pay $10 to get the resources. Nah, it's not worth it. You shouldn't. They shouldn't enforce microtransactions like that. And so yeah,
Yeah.
the prices for Final Fantasy 16 in Canada, standard edition, is $93.49 before taxes. So that's over $100. Because like over here where I am, it's like 15% taxes. And for the digital deluxe edition, it's 119.99. That's still digital. So physical, I don't know how much it is, but it's pretty steep. So yeah, that game I'll most likely buy it, but it will be standard depending on the scores. Been waiting a lot for that, but yeah, it's pretty pricey.
Yeah. I mean, it's like one of the reasons probably why I haven't been invested much with the Disney games because I like them. They look great. They play great. It's just knowing that it's free to play, but you're paying for early access plus microtransactions, and we still know if it's going to be finalized and released because look what happened with what's the fighting game? The one from Warner Brothers. I can't think of Multiverses.
Mm.
That was a huge letdown because I loved the game when it was out, and that made me hate early access games. As soon as I saw the news on there, I was like, "Yeah, I'm not investing more money on that anymore."
Yeah, it's like a bunch of people invested in it, including us, and now the game's not available anymore, and it's supposed to come back next year,
Yeah,
but
but I hate that. It's not
there's no
guaranteed.
guarantee.
Yeah, it's like dumb.
It's like I get that they were having problems with it, and they could have just like, okay, we're gonna bring it to the game is dormant but still available for anyone to play, and we have something planned for next year, so don't expect any new content until that date, but you can still mess around with it, and it's still early access. If they had said that, sure. But it seems like they were trying to listen to the players and implementing everything that everyone was asking for. And the game ended up being more broken every single week. Like the balance was getting off and off because people were complaining, but
Yeah,
their way of fixing it by listening to everyone was not fixing anything. Was just giving some of the players what they wanted because they wanted to abuse a certain system instead. Or it's like, yeah, no, that's not how you do it. You get.
yeah, like the whole Taz situation. That was
Mm-hmm.
the most broken character for weeks,
Which one?
probably even months. Taz.
Oh yeah,
But all you had to do, we even did it together once just to test the theory. And look, we just kept spinning, 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 and every match we kept winning. It was the dumbest thing ever.
I think your microphone's like off a bit. The volume is getting lower and lower for some reason.
Oh,
Okay, now
that's
that's better.
okay. No, I was saying like when we tried and played with Taz, the Tasmanian Devil character, we literally were winning back to back. I think 5, 6 matches, and all we kept doing was the same stupid spin move that everyone else does.
Yeah, and we were exchanging people like going from one spin to the other, like bouncing
Yep,
everywhere.
exactly, doing like a chain, like a little juggle, and it was like okay. And then people were complaining to take it off, and then everyone's like, "Oh no, now we can't play Taz." I'm like, "No, you can still play them. Just get good at the game." I'm like,
Yeah.
"There's a reason why you shouldn't be spamming the same moves, or at least have punishments towards it." And they didn't do that. Like, there's certain games where if you try to spam the same move, it decreases the damage, or you'll be punished in a sense.
Hmm.
You'll get countered or stunned.
So here I got a Final Fantasy 16 video playing on right now. Just gonna catch up to the chat. Rudig says Final Fantasy 16 looks awesome. Yeah, it does.
It is.
Ashes says I feel like I've seen enough of Final Fantasy 16. I know I'm gonna play it though. For a Final Fantasy game, not in love with the Devil May Cry combat. They're spinning it in a different direction, but what I've been seeing is that even though the combat is different, the games still feel like Final Fantasy to the core. Uh, we'll see how it ends up. Personally, I'm excited about it. It's a interesting decision and interesting direction. We'll see how it ends up if players do like it or not.
Yeah.
Rudig says I enjoyed Devil May Cry back in the day. I look forward to playing that style again. So yeah, I like Devil May Cry, but Final Fantasy games, I'm looking for a different gameplay style. But they've been switching gameplay style a lot through time with Final Fantasy, so it is a bit of an extreme change. But 15 was already broken out of the more traditional way, and even 12 felt like a MMO. Like they did 11, which was an MMORPG. Then 12 tried to replicate an MMO but offline, and they've been going in all kind of directions. Some worked, some didn't. But from people who've been playing, and what they shared is that the combat for this one definitely is solid. It's just that yeah, it is a new direction, so some might be disappointed, but apparently it's really good. Um, yeah, so never played Final Fantasy game before Final Fantasy Virgin. Ah, I'll be interesting for you, Stadia. Hey, we got Run Slusher in the chat. What's up? Stadia games are finally coming to PS5. Yeah, we already had Chia, which is a fun little game I have to get back to.
Yeah.
And Ashes says Diablo's gonna suck up all my time this year. The micros are just cosmetic in Diablo 4, which is good, as long as
So
it doesn't
they
look.
say, but I'm not gonna believe shit that anyone says anymore until I actually see it with my own eyes.
Mm-hmm. So it's supposed to be cosmetic. Hopefully they don't lock up resources or bonuses behind them because you're paying the full price for the game. So, and yeah, $100 for standard OLED. Yeah, so that one in particular, Final Fantasy 16, is a bit pricey in Canada.
Yeah. I want to say a bit pricey. They're definitely excessive, but you know.
And we got Vet in the chat. What's up? Yo, Vet live from his daughter's school concert. And Ron says, I heard Metal Gear Remake is not a PS5 exclusive per Inside Gaming tweet. This one, there's all kind of rumors going around.
Yeah. Everyone's apparently insider, and it's just so stupid and annoying at this point.
Yeah, it's a lot of contradictions on this one. Some have been saying, "Oh yeah, it's they're starting with Metal Gear Solid 3 is Snake Eater, and that it's going to be PS5 exclusive." Some say, "Oh no, it's not PS5 exclusive." Some say it's a timed exclusive. All kind of version. I know someone said what they can guarantee for sure that they got the information of is that there's a deal with Konami, and that it involves a mix of time exclusives, and multi-platforms, but that play for the multi-plat day and date on every platform, that PlayStation does have the like the commercial contract where they're the one publicizing it for basically for every one of them. But there are some games that will be day and date multi-platform. Some will have a time exclusivity, and some will be only for PlayStation. And it's a case by case scenario for Konami. But that person was not able to say which games were had which contract because it was all mixed up, and that's all the information they had. So lots of insiders have been sharing a lot of stuff. All we know is that basically with everyone putting their 2 cents in is that we should be getting news about Metal Gear Solid during the showcase, and that definitely there will be a PS5 version. There might be other versions coming out, and we might hear about some other games like Silent Hill and Castlevania as well that's coming around, that each will have different basically a contract with PlayStation on whether it's multi-platform or not.
Yeah.
So Vet's saying daughter's concert was middle schoolers singing, and Vet was playing PlayStation 5 via remote play on an iPhone 13 Pro. Nice.
There you go.
Nasha says game isn't exclusive, but I bet there will be a marketing deal. Yeah, it's for every Konami games coming down with the contract that's signed. Apparently, it's for that the marketing deal is going to be across the board, and some will have exclusivity, but not all of them. So I miss SH. Oh, Silent Hill. It'd be nice to have it back. Yeah, apparently the Silent Hill 2 remake is on the way. And that's part of that contract. So Metal Gear Solid
Mm.
remake could come to Stadia. Run. Sorry about this. So yeah, apparently they were starting with Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, which is basically the starting of the story of Big Boss. When he jumps into one of his first big operations. So it'll be interesting. I've played that one a little bit, but not as much as the other ones. It is the without counting the spin-offs, it's the Metal Gear Solid I played the least. But I've heard
Mm.
so much good stuff about it. I think I got a original copy around somewhere on PlayStation 2. So they're starting with this one apparently because it's the first one in chronological order of when the story is set. So apparently it is how they're gonna break it down. It's gonna go up through Big Boss and then eventually to Solid Snake. So
Hmm. I mean, I feel like Sony's going to definitely have a lot of marketing deals with Konami. That's why they're showing up at the showcase, and it's going to be the biggest stage. They already know that. And like I said, there's going to be a lot of surprises for me. It's definitely going to be Haven. That's going to be my go-to for what I want to see. I already know Spider-Man's going to be shown, so I'm not overly hyped. I already am excited for it as it is. What was the other game? Wolverine. That's what I want to see more of. So hopefully they actually show gameplay with that and show like other individual projects of what's been worked on by all the other studios that we haven't seen anything from yet. So that's my biggest thing.
something I'm hoping they announce for Spider-Man concerning Wolverine, because like the original Spider-Man had a bunch of DLC chapters attached to it that were a lot of fun. I hope the Spider-Man 2 has DLC and that one of them is actually Wolverine, like a prelude to his game, just to tease a little bit, like limited gameplay and stuff. That would be amazing.
Yeah, that would actually be kind of dope if you can actually do that.
Yeah, a full chapter of Wolverine, like just to set up the character, set up the universe. Like, okay, he's visiting New York. Something happened with like the two Spider-Mans and all. Got tiny bit involved, and now he's got his chapter going around New York before heading back home, wherever that is. And then ends up on cliffhanger, and then see you in Wolverine. So that would be amazing if they did that. So
Yeah.
definitely, I'm hoping that they at least show something like that. So, and also there was rumors around a co-op mode that sparked today, this morning, for Spider-Man 2, and that came from the voice actor who plays Miles Morales. I believe it's 3 months ago. He was in a convention giving like answering questions to everyone, and someone asked him if there was a co-op mode for Spider-Man 2, and he wasn't 100% sure, but he said, "Yeah, I think it's already been revealed," and he was saying that yeah, there was a co-op mode. So people,
Mm.
someone actually took notice of that going back through the footage because I guess back then nobody like when it was posted, nobody really took attention to that question, and someone noticed and shared that today, and became crazy. And Insomniac went and commented like, "Oh no, Spider-Man 2 is a single player game," and that kind of killed the rumor right there. But here's where, like, even before Insomniac comment, I was thinking about the fact that Ghost of Tsushima is another game that's a single player game, yet it has a multiplayer mode. And there's multiple games like that, and like even like The Last of Us like has a faction, and we're waiting for faction 2, which might finally be revealed because they've been teasing that it's coming soon. So I still kind of have hopes that because it's some one thing I was hoping for to get multiplayer mode added where you could play as Spider-Man and possibly Miles at the same time, and maybe even Venom, and like doing some multiplayer action, some set of mission. But I would not see that being possible in the main game. Uh, like going around because how they optimize the game, they want all resources available for that single player game, and if you're doing multiplayer, automatically it's adding a load to the game where they have to track multiple players. That's why, like, you got a Arkham Knight, for example, is designed to be multiplayer, and like it had a lower frame rate and all kind of stuff like that. It has to account for something where they have to track different players. It adds a load to the system, even if you're playing alone. The game is designed to be multiplayer. They automatically have to adapt the game and function. So for Spider-Man, where it's designed as a single player game, it's ideal if the main story they keep it single player. But if they added additional mode where you can do a co-op multiplayer, that becomes very interesting. So like
Yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima with different set of missions, objectives that you play in co-op together, or even PvP at a certain point. Go as Peter and Miles teaming up together, and you have another player playing as Venom or one of the villain, and you have to chase him through the city. That would be pretty awesome. Uh, so yeah, as of now, the main story we know that it's single player. As if there's going to be a co-op mode or anything like that added as a separate entity, still very possible because I don't see why that guy would have mentioned, yeah, there's a co-op mode. I thought it was already announced. If there was nothing, so
Hmm. I don't know. I feel like it could be co-op, but then again, I'm worried about the performance. Just because there's certain games that have tried to done co-op and then it affected the performance of it.
mm-hmm.
But I know Insomniac can do wonders. It's just I don't know if they've really done anything co-op wise.
Yeah, that's why I'm mentioning like a different mode, like a add-on, like multiplayer game attached to the game that you have
Yeah,
to quit in the menus and load at the separate mode, and then you can do co-op with different set of missions, different parameters. So that would be a lot of fun.
it would be.
So,
I mean, it would even be fun just to be in open world online, just playing with your friends,
mm-hmm.
just to be doing all those moves, like the way that the Miles Morales would just jump off of the buildings and doing all that with your friends. That would like make perfect for the pictures, or if there's no tethering, where you can actually be on the other one side of the map and your friend can be on the other side doing their thing with their crime fighting. That would be nice, but we have to wait and see. Because I hate tethering, which is why I stopped playing Far Cry. Because I really fucking hate that when you're just forced teleported to the person who is like
The
moving away.
host.
Yep, I hate it. Not a big fan of it. It ruins the whole immersion of it. The only one who did it right, surprisingly, was Ubisoft with the Tom Clancy games.
mm.
At least
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Oh, it'll be interesting to see what direction they take. Uh, One game that we've been speculating a lot about, whether or not it appears during the PlayStation showcase, or there's been rumors that it was actually slated for another event during this Summer Game Fest, is Grand Theft Auto 6.
Mm.
So we actually been talking about that, and there's some rumors going around that it might actually be PlayStation 5 exclusive, at least timed. And because looking back to Grand Theft Auto, if you go back like the first one up to the third one and Vice City and San Andreas, they're all PlayStation exclusive. Some of them eventually got like an Xbox and a PC release, but the initial release were all just PlayStation 2. and then GTA 4 had a simultaneous release on PlayStation and Xbox, and the same thing with GTA 5. But when the PS5 was revealed, before talking of any first party games or anything like that, when they took the stage, they talked about a partnership that they were forging with Rockstar. And they talked about how part of that partnership was bringing GTA Online to PlayStation, and that once it released, that anyone with a PS5 would get a free copy of that if on PlayStation Plus, or free access for a period. And then eventually, so we're talking about those plans, but they were also talking about partnership for in the future, that they were working on some stuff, and it kind of stopped there because back then GTA 6 was planned for a release and got delayed because GTA 6 uses a lot of basically the real world news, what's going on around, to do the script. And it's literally, they didn't have problem with the game development, they had problems with the script, because what they had written, with everything going on with COVID and everything, and it's like 1 month after another there was a big situation developing. It's like everyone was like, okay, is this the end of the world, what's going on? And it was getting crazy and crazier and crazier. At one point, like one of the writers just yeah, we kind of scrapped the script that we had because it didn't make sense anymore. Like it couldn't match the scale of the news in the real world. So it was like, okay, we're gonna go back to the writing board. We're gonna try to come up something. Meanwhile, everything is calming down, and once we feel confident, we'll finish the script and start developing the game again. So that's been a while, and now apparently the script is written. The game's actually pretty close to be finished for recording and everything. The actors have done their job. The game is pretty far in development. There was already some leaks and everything. It might not release this year. The rumors been going around that's likely 2024 that game will release. So, and it might be PS5 exclusive. So that one's been having a bit more of a limited there was a lot of people fighting that rumor, like, oh no, it'll never happen. I think it might very well happen. So what's your opinion on this, whether it would be or not PS5 exclusive? Brian, I think your mic is muted, or
All right, can you hear me now?
yep.
All right. No, I was saying we've just had this discussion before, and I initially joked about it, and I was like, "Watch it being exclusive," because I had shared the what was it, the list we were looking at
Yep.
of upcoming stuff on Showcase, and what the people are that Sony had discussed with, and it was Take Two. I'm like, okay, well, their biggest game would be GTA, and from the past, they've always done marketing deals with Sony. So as a joke, I put this in the chat. I'm like, all right, watch PS5 get the exclusive deal for the game. Doc, you even reply with the laugh emoji and everything. Next thing you know, when they announce the showcase, what do we see? It's gonna be exclusive. This, and that. I'm like, well, what do you fucking know? Now everybody's running with it, and reason why I say I'd rather be exclusive, and it's not to take the game away from other people. I mean, we all know what it is. It's business. I mean, another platform did the same thing with a huge third-party publisher. They were trying to do it again with another huge third-party publisher. And so it's an ongoing thing. Like, we know it's business. They're trying to get the more users on board. And for Take-Two, Sony deal would actually be huge because that's the biggest console selling system right now. Like, everyone's lined up to buying the PS5, and if we look at the sales charts, literally PS5 is even beating Nintendo. Obviously, it's an old generation system and it's going down, but we know it's beating them constantly when it comes to the sales metric. And they're not going to really lose much because, as we all know, majority of people buy games on PlayStation.
Yeah.
So it's
So
not really going to affect them. You're like, yeah, we can go at the argument, oh, they're going to lose money now. I'm like, no, not really.
because you have to take for account, like, you look at the biggest blockbuster titles to have come out this year. Uh, you look at, for example, Resident Evil 4 or Hogwarts Legacy. The numbers that have come out were like 85% of the sales on PlayStation 5, 85, 86%. It's pretty crazy how much they've been selling on the PS5. So those numbers, because there's a large amount of PlayStations, and like we know Xbox, a large amount of people on the Xbox ecosystem like to stick with Game Pass because Game Pass is getting a lot of day and date titles, and like for full games that are selling, PlayStation is doing really good in that department. So that speaks a lot to publishers, and also making a game exclusives. Like Yoshi P was actually talking about that in an interview that was made public today. There was multiple reasons why they went exclusive with PS5, and they actually reached out to multiple platform holders. My guess is Microsoft was part of that. It might have reached out to Nintendo and maybe some unknown players we don't know about. Maybe they even talked to Luna or other platforms and looked with each one of them what they had to offer. But yeah, they asked, like, okay, what conditions can you make it so that if we go exclusive with you, it'll be good for the game, it'll be good for whatever. And they went exclusive with PlayStation because they wanted to make an exclusive from the start, because it's easier to develop for one single platform that you can optimize for, no matter what platform it is. Like we're seeing it with Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. It's you have one set of hardware that you're developing for, and you can max out everything for the game in consideration for that hardware. So it's a lot easier on the devs working on the game, and the end product ends up looking better because you have less to account for. You're just optimizing for one platform. Whenever there's an issue, you resolve it, and it's resolved for that platform. And end of the day, it's working perfect. Then once the game is out, you can start working on other version of the game. No matter how long it takes, you still have a version out there that's gonna have the most of the sales. So for Final Fantasy 15, also 16, sorry. No, they also had an offer from Sony to have a lot of help from XDev to support them to do a lot of optimization. So as for GTA, if they come with the same mentality that they want something that will be well optimized and get a lot of support for the development and optimization and all, and they reach out to multiple parties, having the game exclusive, especially the PS5, which is selling a lot right now, is definitely an interesting option. Then eventually release the PC version and possibly the Xbox version and maybe the Switch 2 version, which might be out maybe next year. But having a timed exclusivity would definitely be good for them. It could bring in some advantages, because even if they were to release in multi-platform, okay, by doing exclusive, there is losing some sales, but there's a lot of people who have multiple consoles, and some who, if they really want to play that game, they'll just switch from one platform to the other, and they're losing some sales, but not that many. And we know that Sony has negotiated in the past, especially for big games, to change the cut of profit, the revenue on the game. So like normally I believe it's like 30% of the revenue of a game that is sold that goes to Sony, and the publisher gets the rest and pays whoever they need to. But with Call of Duty, if I'm not mistaken, the cut was more closer to around 15% instead of the full 30%. in exchange for marketing deal and exclusivity, like get some stuff earlier than other platforms. So you consider that where GTA might be losing some of the sales, but we're talking about a like a smaller percentage, maybe like even if it's 30%, but if their margin of profit is that much higher, at the end of the day, they're not losing much money. Development becomes a lot easier because they can focus on one platform instead of multiple. And you know that that platform will market the hell out of your game, will do the marketing for you, which saves you a lot of money. Will put your game at the forefront of the page the whole time. They'll push your game any way they can. That becomes really interesting for that game. So that's why if they considered going either multi-platform or going to exclusive, for sure they had that conversation, and it might have ended up being advantageous for them, given how they had a very beneficial partnership with PlayStation over time. So we'll see how it ends up being announced, but I think there's a very strong possibility we might be looking at GTA 6 being at least a time exclusive to PlayStation.
Yep.
So Ashes says third party exclusives suck. First party makes sense. Third party just sucks. I get it's business, but it sucks. I have them all, so it doesn't affect me. But I know many that don't and can't afford to. Actually, I personally I prefer, like, I really like third party exclusives. Final Fantasy is one of them. I think it's been driving the gaming economy for a while. There's a lot of those exclusive that will change plays from time to time depending on how the platform's performing and all. Like we've seen Final Fantasy that was on Nintendo before, but eventually the platform it didn't make sense for them anymore because the cartridges were too expensive, and it went to Sony and they had a very good partnership with that. So it adds a dimension to the economy to how platform will compete with each other, and personally, I've always loved that. She says, not sure GTA will go exclusive with things like GTA Online existing. People on all platforms still spend that money, though. Yeah, but GTA Online with GTA 6 will very likely, like, it'll be GTA Online 2. I don't think it'll be the regular GTA Online. I'm pretty sure they already confirmed that once GTA 6 releases, it won't be the same GTA Online, basically.
Yeah.
So you're starting fresh from scratch, and you won't be keeping your same character because it's basically a next gen version. They're ditching the whole hardware behind, and they can do a lot more with the new generation of consoles. So they're by refreshing the engine and everything, it's a new game of its own. It's just yeah, that's my point. They will want that everywhere. Yeah, but it's they can benefit a lot from because if it's time exclusive, it'll be everywhere anyway. But on the release, if they get an exclusive deal and there is some trade up for them if they go exclusive to PlayStation compared to just going multiplat, and they're doing a whole game alone, and like they get a lot of support, at least from PlayStation. Yoshi P went into a bit more details of what they were promised by PlayStation in exchange for making Final Fantasy 16 exclusive, and it was a lot of support on many fronts, which they really appreciated. They said it made a big difference for the game.
Yeah. Final Fantasy is definitely push numbers for PlayStation, and I don't know if it's ever going to beat other titles in terms of the sales metric, but for a Final Fantasy game compared to others, I definitely feel it's going to move a lot more units.
Yeah, it's gonna do solid for a Final Fantasy game. So
I don't know the numbers for the older games, but I definitely see it being up there.
yeah, definitely. So again, it's all a question of time. We should be very soon getting news about GTA 6, what platform it's going. It could be multi-platform, but We should be getting more news about that very soon, most likely during the Summer Game Fest, because I believe it's Strauss Zelnick, the CEO of Take Two, that did mention that news were about to come out extremely soon for the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, we should be hearing some news soon enough and get more clarity as for what direction they're going, and at least get know if that's what the PlayStation partnership that was announced on the release of the PS5, if it was about GTA 6 being exclusive. So, other than this, was there other titles we were looking at? So there's a PSVR 2. We should be hearing news about more titles. I know Insomniac used to make VR titles, VR games. So I'm hoping that they still have that expertise part of their studio and that they'll reveal something. Would be actually pretty crazy to see a Ratchet and Clank VR game revealed.
I mean, that would actually be interesting, but also trippy as hell, especially with the whole portal jumping.
Yup.
I feel like that'd be very nauseating, but that's just me. I mean, I applaud if they were able to implement that tech into VR. It's just, eesh.
Yeah.
Imagine playing Spider-Man in VR.
Oh man, that's one of
Be
the thing as well.
fun.
I think it was mentioned that while there was some games like okay they want to get VR exclusive titles, but they were looking as much as possible to also add VR implementation to new games coming out, especially first party ones. So
Yeah.
imagine playing Spider Man just like if you were watching your TV playing like in third person. But if you're
Yep.
watching and you turn your head and you see New York all around you, and you still have like your Spider-Man in third-person perspective, like if you were watching a TV, but you're kind of floating behind him and just playing a game in VR. That would be
Yeah.
pretty sick.
It would definitely be impressive. So I'm excited to see what Sony has up their sleeves this Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. So that's something they could implement in a lot of games coming down in the future. I know Killzone is one of the titles that's rumors to be coming out. Can very well put that in VR. First person shooter would be fun. Uh, there also Twisted Metal should be showing up. There's the TV show that's coming out right now, and we know PlayStation has been Sony Interactive Entertainment has been going in a direction where they want to have as much content interact with one another. Television and movies and video games is one of the easiest one they can make, but also with music and all kind of stuff. So the TV show featuring Anthony Mackie and Stephanie Beatriz is coming in July. It's coming over to is it Peacock or
I believe it's Peacock. Yeah,
not
I think
sure.
it's Peacock.
Okay, so it's coming in July. So I think it's extremely likely that the game should be released. It's still streaming. Got a notification of disconnection. I just had a OBS glitch for a moment. Okay, we're still live.
Okay.
Yep, good. For some reason, OBS disconnected and reconnected. That's odd.
Huh.
Well, I at least I got a notification. So yeah, Twisted Metal is one that's highly anticipated because they got the TV show coming, and we know like for The Last of Us when the show came out, it boosted the sales of the game by quite a bit, and both of them together were a success. So it's very likely they're going to try to replicate the same thing with Twisted Metal. And the game has been in development for a while. It was being developed by Lucid Games, and they went in and took away the game from Lucid, most likely because they were not satisfied with what was going on in that studio. And the rumor was that it's actually Firesprite that took back the game. along with the same head. Basically, the guy who was at the head of the Lucid game in charge of that project moved along with the game, but with a different team. Because he was basically assigned by PlayStation to be attached to that game, and that so the rumors that have been coming out is that with Fire Sprite it's been going well, and the other projects that Fire Sprite has been delivering were really good, and that it would have completed the work on Twisted Metal, and that it should be coming out this summer. Might be a shadow drop or a reveal during the showcase this week. Might be coming very soon. And so my hopes that we get to play it before the show comes out. That would be very interesting. So really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll drop it. I mean, it could have been in the works, but that'd be the most quietest shadow drop besides the Bethesda one with Hi-Fi Rush.
Mm-hmm.
They really haven't said anything at all. So I don't know. I'm not believing anything that people have speculated at this point. I'm ready for Wednesday. I'm ready to see what they have in stores, and that's pretty much it.
And we have Run Slusher in the chat trolling around saying, can we agree PSVR 2 has been a failure? I don't know if he's trolling, but I think it was not as big a success as they were hoping for, but I wouldn't call it a failure. Because they're hitting some pretty good numbers for VR, which is still a niche market, and considering the economy, it is the VR headset is not expensive for what it is, but it is an expensive piece of hardware. Oh, Ron is not trolling. And Ashes says failure. Hell no, it just now released into retail stores. In my opinion, it's still somewhat of a success. Maybe not as big as they were hoping for, but it's still doing good numbers for a VR headset. And the amount of games for it now are pouring in. Ron says I have no interest in owning it. I definitely want one. I currently don't, but definitely interested in getting one once economic circumstances permit.
I'll pass. I already put my stance on it. There's no point in paying that much money for something I'll only use for one game.
Yeah, for GT7.
Yep. There's just no point.
That's the thing. They still need the big titles to try to sell it to people. So Gran Turismo 7 is one of them. Horizon Call of the Mountain is another one that was pretty popular. So they need more big blockbuster title to justify the VR to sell to more people.
Yep.
But there's definitely a market developing them around PSVR 2. And I know I know several VR aficionados over on Twitter, and they all swear by it. Like, okay, it's a new standard of excellence for VR basically at a reasonable price. So, definitely interested in giving it a try eventually, but they need the big titles on it. So, indeed, if they do implement it in more titles that are traditionally not VR, but make cool implementation for it, that'll be a win. And so, like I said, if they get Killzone that you can play in VR mode and all, that would definitely be awesome. So that is a developing story. We'll see how it reacts over time, how it succeeds in picking up more users. But coming out in retail, you can now buy it on Amazon. You can buy it in more retail stores. Apparently, it's been pushing the sales. A lot more people have been buying them. So we'll see over time. Other than that, there's one thing we talked briefly about, but we didn't come to the actual point we wanted to talk about. It's Stellar Blade. You've been theorizing that it might actually be a shadow drop on PlayStation Plus, right?
Yep. And that's because there was a lot of images being thrown around of showing it being on the store homepage. So I feel like it's one of those things where they're going to put it there to boost the the game itself, to get more people to look at it, try it, play it, and who knows, might even spend money on it.
Yeah, that would be cool. So definitely looking forward to see that game, how well it does, what kind of fresh idea that comes out of it, the Chinese studio.
Yep.
So that'll definitely be awesome. Ron says, I like how Sony is starting to invest in esports games, mainly fighting games, which I play the most. Yeah, there's a lot of investment down in that field. Like they now own Evo. They got PlayStation tournaments going. That's growing more and more. They're getting more games on boarded with a lot of tournaments. Definitely, they're setting up something for engaging the community. The community, that's really awesome. I like seeing how involved they are in this. So, other stuff that we talked about. Trying to remember, I'm pretty sure it was something else we talked about that we wanted to talk about for the showcase.
Mm. Trying to think. I think that was majority of it because we just had to wait. Honestly, until Wednesday, and I knew there's gonna be a show coverage on that. Like I said, I'll definitely be watching from afar, but I'm excited for it.
Yep. So what I'll be hosting, we're gonna do a live reaction of the showcase as it happens on this channel. So you'll be working. I know Vet is coming, and Dylan will be there as well. And from up to the latest news, there's also Ray that'll be joining us. And I know what was I was poking at Rudigs. I don't know if he'll be able to make it or not. But got several people coming in here, so we'll be doing a live reaction to the showcase. Really looking forward to this. There should be a lot of major announcements, a lot of stuff that's being teased online, but not just like insiders, but actual people who are working at a PlayStation who've been saying that, yeah, you can expect something big. So yeah, looking forward to those monster announcements. Should be a lot of fun.
Mm.
So on this, since we got a big showcase coming so soon, and we pretty much went around what we wanted to cover, I think we're gonna wrap this up for tonight.
Yep.
So where can we find you?
The usual. I'll always be on Twitter at bsilvaportugal. Basically, I'll post all my theories on there, discussions. I haven't been doing the little chats lately just because it's been hectic.
Yeah.
I'll like get back to that.
Yeah,
But,
those little space can be pretty chill. We'll definitely bring that back.
yeah, but I'm definitely excited for this Wednesday just to see what they're coming with. And on top of that note, Nintendo was also part of the show, so I'm actually excited for both now because honestly, they're the only two bringing out quality in my opinion.
Yeah, a lot of great gaming ahead. A lot of great news developing around. Crazy stuff that's going on. So, yeah. As for myself, you can find me on this channel on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter, Dr. Spaceman Games, and we'll be seeing everyone on Wednesday for the big showcase live reaction. Looking forward to this. So, have a good night, everyone.
All right.